Alright, so today we're going to install this Pop&Lock electronic tailgate lock for the 2019 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. Just getting started here. As you can see, I've removed all the screws from the plastic cover on the inside of the tailgate. So we're going to take that off first. Okay, so one thing to be careful of is these, there's two types of screws to take that plastic cover off the tailgate. So one is the kind of longer metal screws and the other one is the shorter. This is actually a plastic screw. And these were threaded into these little things, which were pressed into the plastic tailgate up here. And when I pulled the plastic off, these popped out, so just be careful as you're taking that off that those don't go flying. Okay, so now that we've got the plastic cover off the tailgate, I've opened up the Pop&Lock device itself. So there's the actual actuator, the lock mechanism. Got two cable assemblies, got a bunch of zip ties, we got the wire splices. So the next step is to remove the two nuts that are here and here, and then we'll slide the Pop&Lock, these two holes, we'll go over those studs and then we'll replace the nuts on there. So let me do that now. Okay, so I've got the electronic actuator mechanism in there. There's a little bit of a trick to get it in, not too bad. As I was kind of rotating it down in there, you actually have to pull up a little bit on this bar right here. And as per the instructions here, it says this will take some force to put into position. It helps to pull up a little on the OEM slide bar while installing. That's exactly what I did, and it seemed to work out pretty well. So the OEM slide bar is this guy here. So I just put my finger under there and pull up a little bit, and this thing was able to rotate and slide right into place and get these holes over the studs. So next step is to put the two nuts back on. Okay, we got the two nuts back on there, so the device itself is in position, and it does slide back and forth. If I can, that's the lock position, so then when I pull on the tailgate handle, it doesn't do anything. And then the unlock position is back to the, let's see here, back to the left. And when you pull on the handle, you can see it moves the whole assembly, so you can open the tailgate. So that was the easy part. So next comes the wiring. So let me see if I get that figured out. Okay, so I'm by the passenger side rear door right now, and I've got the long wire fished up through the bottom. So let me show you where that is. So I'm by the front passenger door now, and right underneath the front passenger seat is this little spot right here, and it's like some kind of sound deadening material. Another YouTube video kind of showed this little spot to run the wire through, and it's really a great spot. So I can't take credit for this one, but I'll put a link to that other YouTube video in mine, or in the description, so you can check out his video as well. And that's kind of where I got a lot of the idea for this from. So anyway, to get through this little spot, I just took a little flathead screwdriver and poked through. It goes pretty easily. You don't want to poke through too far, because otherwise you're going to gouge the foam insulation and the carpet up inside the truck. But great spot to run the wire through. Kind of once you get the hole through, you just kind of push it up through, and it pulls through. You can pull it through from the inside pretty easily. So let me get back up again here, and I'll show you what I did on the inside. Right, so I've got the passenger seat slid all the way forward, and I've got the Pro 4X Deluxe model, so it's got the power seats. So it has there's some electronics under here, so you do have to be a little bit careful, but not too bad. Everything's pretty much out of the way. So I've got the carpet kind of pulled up here. The cable comes through under there, and you're not going to be able to see just because of the lighting, but cable comes through under there, and what I did is I actually ran it back under the carpet here, underneath through here, and then up, right up to the B-pillar. So I actually had to pull the kick plate back, fish my hand up underneath through the carpet there, reach forward, pull the wire back through, and then kind of route it up the side here. So that's kind of the step where I am right now. To help make it a little bit easier, I did put some electrical tape around the two leads, just to make it a little bit easier, just to make sure they don't get caught on anything. So now I'm going to take that tape off and splice in my wires and the connector right over here. So one other bit I just wanted to get into here is kind of how this B-pillar came apart. So the first thing you got to do is just pull the the weather stripping out away from it. There's a clip kind of right here. That's one area, so you can just kind of pull back on that, pop it off. That comes out, and then as you there's a so you can actually kind of see the clip right there where my thumb is. There's this pin right here as well, so that also pops out, and that goes in this little hole right there. So you can kind of just see how this thing goes together. And I've got it. I actually pulled the weather stripping from the rear passenger side door area, and then also from the front passenger side door area on the far side, just to help just so I can get it off on both sides and make access a little bit easier. Down inside, there's this little white panel right here. Has two connectors that kind of hold that in place, and it's also taped to the wire harness. I just popped both the connectors out. It's still held in place by that tape on the wire harness. That's what gets you access to the connector inside the B-pillar here, and so you just got to reach in, pull that out, and then you have access to the wires in there. So I was able to fish that connector out. I just wanted to show you. So now you have access to these wires, right? So you can just peel back some of this electrical tape on here, and you'll be able to splice in. Okay, so I've got my wires spliced in here. So I've got the two wires that I'm using are the light blue and the purple in the harness, and I've got the green wire from the Pop&Lock cable tied to the blue wire, the light blue wire from the harness, and then I've got the blue wire from the Pop&Lock tied to the purple wire from the harness. So that's just kind of how I've done it. We'll see if it actually pans out, and I'm hoping all I have to do is reverse the two plugs on at the actuator, in case I've got it backwards or something like that. But anyway, I'm using those are the colors that I'm using. I'll let you know how it works. Okay, so I've got all the wiring hooked up here. I've got green to green and blue to blue by the actuator here, and I've got the cable running over here. Short cable connected to the long cable right here. Long cable goes around over where it goes up inside the cab of the truck. And so now, if I hit the lock button, it's locked. If I hit unlock the driver door, unlock the passenger door, tailgate lock works with it. So lock, unlock 1, unlock 2, done. So we know the wiring works. So in the B pillar, the green wire from the Pop&Lock harness goes to the light blue wire in the B pillar, and the blue wire from the Pop&Lock harness goes to the light purple in the B pillar. Hopefully I got that right. Alright, so I just want to take a little shot of the grommet that I'm trying to run the short cable through at the bottom of the tailgate. So there's this rubber grommet that the wire harness for the backup camera is going through, and it's, I don't know if you can see down in there, but let me see if I can turn the light on. 1 second. There we go. So the bottom of that grommet is basically taped to the cable harness, which is running through the tailgate up over to the backup camera, which is right down in there. So what I did is I actually just poked a second hole through that grommet, because there was no way I was going to get this wire through that cable harness. So I just poked a second hole there. We'll run it through that way. It's a pain in the butt getting those connectors through, but so I made a hole that was smaller than the diameter of the connector, and basically just tried to force it through, and it seemed to work. I managed not to tear the grommet itself too badly, so I'm still in pretty good shape there. So I'm just going to pull the wire through, feed it with a coat hanger through the tailgate over to here, and we'll connect it to these guys right here. Okay, so I've got my wire fished through. Just used the coat hanger, ran it from back there through the little hole in the grommet and forward, and actually got to push that grommet back in now. But anyway, so I've got the cable running out here this way, and the harness for the backup camera is in this black conduit here, and it goes through this fancy little connector here. And there's not really any extra space kind of along that little ridge there for the extra cable. So what I'm going to do, I think, is poke a hole right through that face right there. A little bit of room on that backside, and I'll pass the cable through that way, and I'll just zip tie it. I'll zip tie it here. Make sure it's tucked up nice and tight against there so it doesn't get pinched when the tailgate closes. Okay, so I got my hole drilled through that little plastic plate there. And what I had to do is actually lop the end off of the short connector so that I could actually pass the cable through that hole. I tried to keep it as tight as I could. So what I'm going to do is I'll just solder those two ends back together. Just, you know, green to green, blue to blue, tape it up and call it good. All right, so I've got the ends of my wires cut and stripped here, so I'm just gonna use a solder iron here and just solder those babies back together like that. And once I do that, I'm not gonna be able to pull it back, you know, pull the cable back through this connector, but I don't really need to. This is gonna go on the inside underneath. We'll mount it under there where it'll connect with the longer cable. All right, so we've got the cable going through there. Oops, get the light on. I guess the light's not going to work. Anyway, I got the cable passing through the little plate there. We'll get this guy zip tied up here. Back over here, I've got the connectors put together. I just wrap a piece of electrical tape around them so they hold together there all right. That's pretty much done. And then it's getting kind of late and dark out here, so I will... the last thing I have to do basically tomorrow is just run the cable from the B-pillar back onto the truck along the frame and connect it in place. So that'll be that. Got it all nice and zip tied there. Okay, so I just want to show the wiring under the truck. So this is under the front passenger side seat. So that's just a little sound deadening material area there. I've got the cable going up through there to the B-pillar. And I just started tie wrapping it to the existing harness. And it just goes all the way back there. And then I'll give you a shot. So basically I just kind of followed it all the way back, you know, just kind of wrapping it around the frame as I needed to, and you know, what have you. So I'll give you a shot of the connection point in the back between the long cable and the short cable. All right, so I'm up underneath right next to the spare tire here, underneath the back. So I've got the long cable coming around here, and I literally just bundled up all the excess long cable and short cable right there. And you can see the plastic plate kind of right there. If it focuses, there it goes. So that's the plate that I drilled the hole in to pass the short cable through. So everything kind of tucks up in there nice and neat. So we're all hooked up and everything works pretty well now. So thanks for watching, and hope this was helpful.